The topic says, save your child before love breaks them. So definitely there is a reason why you signed up to be here. And I would like for you to share that reason with us in the chat room. So go right ahead and tell. The topic says, okay? So welcome everyone to Save Your Child Before Love Breaks Them. Like I said, my name remains Chidima Nwobi, and I will be leading us in this conversation. So yes, I'm seeing someone from SA, from Lagos. Please tell me, what do you want to take out from here? Maybe you saw a video, someone invited you, you are in the WhatsApp group, but essentially there's a reason why you are here. Joy wants to become more skilled at raising my 2 teen boys. Joy, provided your intention is around helping them prepare for relationship, then you're in the right place, because this is a very focused parent webinar, precisely with regards to the importance of preparing our young adults.
Hello, how are you? Don't speaking. One microphone you are muted. Your video is stopped. Kí ló dé tí video mi fi wà stopped? Báwo máa ti wà muted? Kò wà muted. Kò ó dàbí pé kò ní X níbẹ̀ kẹ́. Kò ní X.
It's connection problem from the host. I think she's offline, but she will join back real soon.
Sadly, she will not be able to join because the room is full. There are 100 people here, so I don't know the possibility of her joining anymore.
Oh, okay. I'll withdraw and hopefully she can join in.
Hello, can you hear me?
Now, yes, we can. Back. Welcome back.
Goodness, I'm so sorry about this, but I hope that we are going to have this conversation. Thankfully, we're back. And again, we will just go right into it. Let me remind us why we're here. We want to have a conversation on how to save our children from heartbreak. And initially, I didn't know it was a network thing. I was wondering, how do we have a full house and only 5 people are talking? Then I realized that it seems I was talking to myself. So welcome back. Let's get right into it. Like I said, and whilst you're listening, please be praying silently. Sometimes Nigeria can want to stain your white. I have had to switch providers, like really, I don't know. So be praying that we have this conversation to the end without any further hitches. All right. So well done, and thank you for staying on. Let's get into this conversation. This is why we're here. And I will try within the time that we have to really break this down. And I will appreciate if you also join me. As I go along and watching the time, I will pause at certain times to just feel your pulse and let's all learn together. This is like a mother to another parent. And of course, this conversation is very important to me, and you will learn why it is this important to me as we go along. And I'm starting with this. Why are we having this conversation now? If you're here, I'm hoping you have children between the ages of 18 to 25. And like I was saying earlier to the lady who said she wanted to learn how to raise her teen boys. And I'm like, this is a very focused conversation, focused on preparing our children in that age bracket for relationships. And one day I was talking to a parent about that. The daughter was getting into university and we were just having a conversation, and I'm like, oh, how have you prepared her for, university in terms of boys, relationships? And she's like, no, that's not what she's going there for. She has to finish her studies. When she's done with her studies, then we can talk about that. I just smiled because she does not understand this hard truth. Waiting till your child is in a relationship before you intentionally start preparing them for the healthy kind of relationship you may have waited too long, because you cannot advise a child already in love. Chances are, when your child is already emotionally attached to a person, talking to them about, oh, the red flags you may be seeing or the danger signs you are noticing may be too late. Because once emotions kick in, like Mother of Nations says, waiting till then is waiting too late. That is why we are having this conversation with those parents who have children from 18 years. Let me tell you, relationship preparation, marriage preparation actually starts from home, even long before they turn 18. Because as you will find out, how did the child learn relationships? But as they are getting to 18, and why 18? Because again, all things being equal, that's about the age where they leave home to maybe college, to the university, and then of course they are exposed to the larger dating scene. That's the first hard truth why we're having this conversation. The second hard truth is that your child's potential relationship struggles don't always start with them. Sometimes, not sometimes, they learn love from watching you. And I want to start with this to say, I don't want us to sound like we are blaming parents or we're trying to like make you feel you've not done an excellent work. You have been doing great work. You have been doing great work. But then we want to see, that's why every parent here should be ready to learn something new. What if there are some things that you genuinely did unconsciously or could still be doing unconsciously with your best intentions, and yet it could pose a potential relationship struggle for your child. We will look at them as we go along. That is why tonight I am going to be as much as I can share with you things we should know even as our children grow. Now, this was one message sent to me on WhatsApp. And I don't know if you do that. Maybe sometimes I save people's number with how I met them and all of that. And please let it be known that this WhatsApp chat I'm sharing is shared with permission. This mother granted permission, say, yes, you can share it. Maybe somebody can learn from my own experience. And then she reached out to me one time, and this was her message. Please help me, ma. My second daughter is going through a lot. I am afraid she may hurt herself. And I was reading further. And then she goes to say, she said she's just realized she doesn't love her husband, that she made a mistake to marry him. She's even threatening my husband and I that she will kill herself if we force her to remain in the marriage. They have been married for just 2 years. I don't understand all these children. What have I done to deserve this? And I'm saying to a parent here, this may not be your situation, but I know that after today's encounter, with what you will learn, it will never be your child's portion. Yet your child will not walk into a relationship or a marriage and just down the line regret entering it, because maybe they entered it with the things that we're about to discuss tonight. And if you are that parent, whether father or mother, and you are saying with me, this will not be your child's portion, come in the chat room and type amen, so that I'm sure that I have parents who are not wishing for this to happen to them. All right, so let's move the conversation. That is why I want to teach you how you save your child. First of all, we're going to be looking at 5 dangerous red flags that even the well-brought-up children, even the smart children, fall for the wrong person and end up in a miserable relationship or marriage. I will show you how you can save your child from making that costly mistakes. And whilst we're going through this conversation, I will try to share relatable stories and case studies that I have permission to share. And it's interesting because I'm seeing David saying he's 18 years, not too old for teens to start learning about relationship, because these days children enter universities earlier than 18. If you have heard me, I did say that relationship preparation starts even from the child born into your family, but I don't want to preempt what I will say later. And of course, this is not a parenting educational webinar, but then of course that is also challenging. A child who is not up to 18, should that child be going into university? That's a conversation for another day. So let's just stay on this streamlined conversation, right? So let's begin the conversation, starting with the 5 dangerous red flags that can make a child fall for the wrong person and end up in a miserable relationship or marriage. Number 1, first red flag is when that child, and when I say child, because I'm talking to parents, I am also talking about young adults. I'm also talking about a child who might even be in their 30s, but this still applies. But the audience here are parents of children 18 to 25 years, because I want you to see the importance of starting now to have relationship preparation conversation with your children and not waiting till they have gotten into a relationship, they have gotten their heartbreak, they have gotten somebody and you're wishing, oh, I should have done this earlier. How does somebody not knowing themselves yet be a red flag? What does it even mean to know yourself? Let's look at how this shows up. When a young adult doesn't know who they are, they become who they think they have to be loved. And in this present days of social media, the internet, and many voices speaking to these young people, it is even more dangerous. Imagine a young boy who perhaps you want to get to know him. Oh, and he just says, my name is blah, blah, blah. I'm from blah, blah, blah. I'm in so school. I'm studying blah, blah, blah. And you're wondering, okay, what else? Because when that child doesn't know, wait, who am I? Stemming from where I come from, my identity. What are the values that I hold as a person that guide how I make decisions? What are the things I believe in? What are my convictions? Definitely, that child who does not know who he is likely going to be caught up in the web of fear of missing out. I work with young adolescents, and sometimes when you're asking them, why did you do this? He said it was just trending, and I didn't want to look like the only one who wasn't doing it. In fact, I met a young boy who was a father at 19. And why did he become a father at 19? Because his friends were laughing at him that he had not yet slept with a girl. And although he felt like, but everybody seemed to be doing it, his people, and then they had a bet. And his very first attempt to have sex with a young girl got this 17-year-old girl pregnant. And the parents insisted that since your eye has opened to want to know how to have sex, you're going to take responsibility. And at 19, he was already a father because his father insisted that he was going to take responsibility for that child. Now imagine all of the things it will cost for that young boy. So young people start looking for relationships to tell them who they should be, and that's a problem. That's why I tell parents, you don't just focus on paying school fees. You don't just focus on, you need to have conversations. Get to know, okay, so who do you think you are? Blah, blah, blah. Have conversations. Notice when your child is feeling withdrawn. Notice when your child is questioning. But ordinarily, when they begin to question, and again, adolescence also marks that time when the child is trying to know themselves. And maybe they come with some concepts that you don't understand, or you feel that they shouldn't be talking about. Do you even open your ears to listen, or you dismiss them? And so they are looking to be understood. I met a young lady who got married at 21 because she was looking to be understood. At home, she didn't feel understood. In school, she didn't feel understood. And this young boy who felt like he understood her was the person she went with. Yet, he wasn't the best for her. He was someone that was in a cult in a Nigerian university, doing all sorts of drugs and all of that. Are you aware that secondary exposure to even cigarettes and all that could even predispose a person to lung cancer? And I'm not kidding you, not just trying to make the story sweet. Down the line, she started coughing over the dated till she was in her final year, and that's how she was diagnosed of lung cancer. As I speak with you, that young girl is no more with us. Now imagine if she felt understood rightly. She didn't need to wear a mask to attract somebody who loves her or somebody who was not right for her, or even get into a relationship where she shouldn't be in a relationship. So when a young child wears this mask, not really knowing, not being secure in who they are, People, even when people fall in love with them, now get this, they are in love with the person that the young person pretends to be. I need you to understand this. That is not only even the fact that the person may end up with a wrong person. So imagine I'm pretending to be this very docile girl, and then I meet somebody and the person falls in love with this me that doesn't question anything, that just does everything you say. But you know that wearing a mask is exhausting. Over the years, I will get tired of pretending, but I would have to keep pretending to keep the relationship going. And when I am tired, because definitely nobody can wear a mask forever. When I get tired of the mask, that's where issues come. And the person say, this is not the woman I married. This is not the man I knew. No, you knew the false man, because the real man was yet undiscovered. And the person they knew was the false person. That when wearing the mask was no longer possible because it was exhausting and choking, the real person is now emerging, and is a problem because the person dating that person did not date the real person. They want the person to still remain wearing the mask. And when that person refuses to keep wearing the mask, what do you think happens? The relationship is over, the marriage is over, and the child is back to square one. Salvation, I'm going to kick you out of this class. Please, we are here to talk about saving our children before love breaks them. If you want to talk about seminars, please do it elsewhere. Admin, please help me find this person and take him out of the room so that we can focus on why we're here. All right? So, what does that do? Like I said, gradually the mask becomes exhausting to maintain, the real person emerges, and the relationship begins to crack. Now, my question to you as a parent, does your child know who they are? Or are they mostly known for what they do? Even you as the parent, can you describe, tell me your child's top 3 values? This 19-year-old son of yours, this 21-year-old daughter of yours, can you list their top 3 values? Like when it comes to my child, this is their number 1 value. This is the lens through which they make decisions. Or do you just know about their grades? Oh, are you in the, what's your GPA? Where you're standing? Do you know what your child believes in? Even if what your child believes in is different from what you believe in, but at least knowledge is how you can now guide. Can you categorically say that your child has found their voice? Like this child of yours, in as much as it's still evolving, but this child is not that child you can push around. This is a child that can enjoy the joy of missing out and not easily go by trends, not easily want to be in that fear of missing out, but they have found their voice. They are kind of, yes, they are still growing, but they understand themselves to an extent. Do you think that your child is that person who adapts themselves to please others? Have you observed your child, maybe a friend of theirs being angry with them? How did your child handle it? Did you feel that your child was trying to maintain that relationship at all costs because they couldn't even standing on what they believe? Do you think your child is free to express their opinions, not even only to you, but among their peers? What about boundaries? Can you beat your chest and say, this one, I know that she has set boundaries and I know she is authentic enough to uphold that boundary? A young girl said to me, this young guy was putting his hands on my laps. And although I didn't like it, I didn't know how to tell him not to, because I didn't want him to feel that I wasn't, I didn't belong. Or how did she put it? She said, I didn't want him to feel like I was giving him a command. And she stood there and allowed a boy touch her inappropriately because she could not muster the words to stop the inappropriate touch. And let me ask you a question. If your child was to enter a serious relationship tomorrow, would you say that you know that this child of yours will be choosing the relationship to enter from a place of self-confidence? Not because they are looking for somebody to complete them, not because they feel something is missing in them, but from being confident and not just wanting to belong. Now, the big question is, does your child feel seen? Do you think that your child feels chosen? I have seen somebody say to me, I know my parents regret having me. And I'm like, what do you mean? And it was a girl child. She happened to be the 5th girl in the family. And one, from the time they had the first daughter, the second daughter, the third, the parents wanted a male child. That when she was born, she felt that she was unwanted. And by the time I started to work with the parents, the mother actually broke down crying because she started to recall, even when this child was still an infant, her grandmother, which is the mother's mother, would be calling on the daughter to come and breastfeed the child. And the mother would be like, please, I beg you, people should leave me. I'm reserving my breast for our brother. This is not a made-up story. Believe me that every instance I give you here is from reality. I have been on this field for 20 years and counting. And unknown to her, unconsciously, even though that young girl was an infant, you will say, oh, she didn't know, now she wasn't there. But the mother still carried on that attitude that the girl felt unwanted. Does your child feel validated? Whether it's even that precious one child, whether it's the only son. Now, why are we having this conversation? Is to ask you, if your child will not fall into the wrong hands because they don't know who they are, what are you doing about it? And my question is, what have you intentionally done in the last 12 months to help your child discover who they are? If you have done anything intentionally, come and tell me in the chat room. In the last 12 months, within the space of 1 year, this is what we have done as a family to help our children understand their heritage, to help my 19-year, in fact, before you send any child to university, whether you're sending that child at 18, at 16 or whatever, and you have not helped them discover who they are, you have done that child a disservice. Because when they get out of that your cocoon, the world will tell them who the world wants them to be, and it might be deviant from the originality of who they are. That's the first red flag. That is the thing that makes even people from good homes fall in the wrong hands, because they think they have to become who the world wants them to be, or they go looking for relationships to tell them who they are, because from home, they do not know who they are. I like the parent who says, I have the meeting scheduled and we're going to have the conversation. Fantastic. Number 2 red flag. People get into wrong relationships because they are looking for love to heal what hurt or hurts them. And as a positive psychologist, who is also a trauma-informed expert, I can tell you that most times people do not consciously, rationally know that they are even hurting, or that they are making decisions and choices based on their hurt. And I'll break it down for you. How does this affect a child? Imagine if a child secretly feels unworthy, maybe for whatever reason. I have seen a young boy write a letter, a suicide note to the parents. Why? Because this young boy, firstborn child, wasn't academically sound, and the parents would not let him hear a word of it because they kept comparing him to his sisters, younger siblings, who they felt were brighter and more intelligent. And when he took his life after his SSCE results came out and he knew that he was going to be a disappointment to them, he said, now you will no longer have any child that will bring you shame. Maybe that child may not even have maybe that child will not even have the liver to do that. But as a child, if a child feels unworthy for whatever reason, feels rejected, feels abandoned, and I often say to people, sometimes these things are not even intended by whoever they feel hurts them, but it's their interpretation. That child may unconsciously choose partners who make them feel exactly the same way. Now, David is saying, I don't understand the red flag, and I'm explaining it. Imagine a young boy who felt rejected because, again, maybe he was shorter than his peers for whatever reason. Are you aware that trauma unconsciously attracts trauma? I'm trying to keep this as very simple, but I might need to go deeper to break it down. When it comes to the neurobiology of pain or trauma, our brain is naturally designed to keep us alive. And to do that, one of the things the brain does is to recognize patterns. Patterns that are familiar is what our brain takes. So if a child feels abandoned and there's another person who is unemotionally available for them, but it's what the brain sees as how people love, because maybe you grew up in a home where he felt abandoned, or maybe amongst his peers in secondary school, he wasn't among the stars, and so people did not befriend him. Abandonment looks like that's how people do love. And so because it's familiar, familiarity feels like love. So it might end up with another relationship that is emotionally unavailable for him, and the circle continues. Meanwhile, what that boy needs is to heal his emotional wound of abandonment so that he can now see clearly to recognize real love. That's what I'm saying. If that child secretly feels not enough, whether from home, whether from school, whether from the environment, they often accept treatment. A child who secretly feels not enough often accepts treatment that a confident child would reject. Do you think, and let's look at this. Oh, I get you. Sorry, that's a typo. So let's look at these treatments that people could accept. Do you think that a person who is confident in himself will tolerate disrespect? Have you ever wondered why sometimes you see some girls in relationships or being married to someone who constantly disrespects them, and you're like, but this thing started even from dating. Why did you go this long with this person? Have you ever stopped to imagine that a confident person, a person who is whole, will not ordinarily continue to take disrespect? Has that ever occurred to you? That a person who is confident, who is whole in themselves, will not condone emotional neglect. Not that, oh, okay, if I notice it, we talk about it. But if it becomes persistent and continues, the person would walk away. But when a person it does not even know that is the pain in them, the trauma in them choosing for them, they could stay in relationships that ordinarily they should be walking away. Most emotional wounds are unconscious, and I've said that before. And until a child can identify and heal them, they may end up with people who either ignore them, who use them, who disappoint them, or make them work for love. Because these wounds have convinced them that that's what love looks like. Now, let me bring it home to us as parents. Some of us here, and I'm saying this with every sense of empathy, not in a blaming way, not in trying to feel like I am mocking the person, but so that I can drive this red flag home. Some of us here as parents would not be married to the people we are married to if we were whole enough, if we had the chance to even check through our lives to ensure that these relationship decisions I am going to make are based from a wholeness place, not based out of loneliness, not based out of wanting love. I have seen people who marry because they just wanted something to feel like home again. Somebody said to me, I knew he was abusive, but I don't know, maybe I just wanted to show that I could give love to somebody, the kind of love I wish I got from my parents, the kind of love I wish I got from my friends. I just wanted to prove that I can give this love that I'm wanting to another person. And she stayed on in an abusive relationship. But if she was already healed of it, you will know that you deserve better. I don't know if this is driving home so that I'm sure you're getting it. Because if our children do not have the opportunity to go through their lives and check if they have any residue pain, and before you tell me, they're just 18, which trauma? What are we talking about? What kind of pain? Are you aware that even a young child who may be the parents asks the child, maybe sleeping in the parents' home at 4 years, at 5 years, and then the parents suddenly realize, this child should be sleeping in their home, and they take the child to start sleeping in their rooms, that some children internalize it as them not wanting them. In as much as me and you can interpret it as a parent that they were trying to get the child to be independent and to have their room back to themselves. Do you know that some young people interpret being sent off to boarding house as their parents not wanting to take the responsibility of raising them, and so they push them away? That even can be a trauma they need to heal from. So sometimes even the check-in is not because something dramatic happened, they lost a loved one, or the parents were remarkably abusive. It could just be their interpretations of life stuff. I met a young girl who was in primary school. At the age of 6, 7, she was already developing breasts. And if you understand primary school, then they would go to the changing room to change into their swimwears. And one particular day, she was in the changing room for the girls. And for some reason, one mischievous boy ran into the changing room and saw her. And he was like, she was just about to dress up. And he took her bra and ran out of to the class and said, hey, so person is wearing bra. The 6 going to 7-year-old girl was embarrassed. But that was the beginning of her introduction to feeling poor body confidence, beginning to question, why did God do this for her, that she had to be the different one? And as she continued to grow, she grew busty, that she hated her body. And then it even stifled her voice, that when she comes around boys, she's not confident because she's just feeling like they'll feel like she's not like the normal girls. So when I'm talking trauma, I'm telling you that there are different shades of it. Then this young girl goes to even shine as a very bright girl among the boys. That on one particular day, they were having a swimming competition and she was, doing very well. And they're like, please get out. Do you know that because of that, she stopped volunteering to lead certain roles in school from primary school, took that behavior to secondary school, somebody who was designed to stand out, but because of this singular event that made her begin to hate herself, it continued even onto young adulthood. She's in therapy as a 25-year-old woman, still trying to get her voice. So I'm saying this because somebody might say, oh, this child is too small. Why are we talking trauma? They could be interpretations that they have done to things that happened that you don't even know. That is the interpretation they have given to it. So my reflection for you as a parent, and please, I hope you're taking this reflection and taking notes, because when I'm done with the red flags, you're going to tell me what you want to do differently with your children. Reflection for red flag 2. Do you know if there are any trauma that your child is dealing with that you don't know about? I had to ask a young boy if it was okay for us to involve the parents in a case because I needed home to also provide the support. And this was a young boy who was having a crush on someone, a 19, 20-year-old boy in the university having a crush on someone. And then his friend went and asked the girl out, even though he didn't tell the friend, but the friend asked the girl out. And that destroyed a part of his security towards male friendship. And I was like, but he didn't know you had a crush on her. So why are you taking it out on him? And he said, he hurt me that the girl I liked agreed for my friend. Now note, the friend did not know. The girl did not know. Yet, it still made him feel unwanted and rejected. And so whilst we're doing the therapy, bad enough, home was not also that safe space. So we needed family to grow how to show him love without necessarily telling them this part of it because he wasn't ready to share that. So do you know whether anything that happened to your child as a child, even from your house, from the school, from the environment, have they healed from the ones you know? Secondly, if your child is hurting emotionally, for any reason, something happens and your child is hurting emotionally, can you beat your chest to tell me that you know that your child will know how to process their pain? Oh yes, I have done a good job in teaching my child emotions regulation. I think my child would understand how to pause, what to do, how to process the pain healthily. Or do you think that they will start looking for validation, attention, or even trying to numb that emotional pain by looking for relationships to make them feel better? And the third reflection should actually get you thinking. If your child started dating tomorrow, that precious child of yours was now ready to date and wants to start dating towards a healthy relationship that will lead to marriage, would your child be choosing a potential date from wholeness because they are whole, from personal self-confidence? Or will your child be choosing a date from loneliness? Will they be choosing a date from emotional emptiness or just a hunger to fill a void? That's a question that should get every parent here thinking. And we're moving to red flag 3. Are we together so far? If we're together, give me a thumbs up. If we have lost you somewhere, come and tell me I'm not here anymore. But if we're together, I want to see your thumbs up in the chat room, or like Joy is using an emoji to do that. Okay, the third red flag, and this is where sometimes we as parents could begin to feel accused. But I started on a very, very empathetic note, and also because I am a parent as well, that this is about awareness. This is not designed to blame anybody. This is to give us that momentum to do differently. And another red flag that could expose a child, a young adult, to relationships where they may be choosing wrongly is that sometimes some children are carrying unhealthy relationship lessons that you, the parent, never intended to teach them. And I'm going to explain. Because life skills, relationship skills, what love means, what safety means, what relationship represents are first caught. Hear this. They are first caught before they are taught. And the first place any human being learns about relationship is from the home, whether functional or dysfunctional. So let's try to break this down even more. When a young adult grows up around unhealthy relationship patterns, they often mistake those patterns for normal love. Now, I recognize that it takes two to tango. I know that one person cannot successfully, continuously make a marriage what the marriage should be because it requires the effort of both, right? I get that. I also get that sometimes we ourselves may be in unresourceful states, but then it's about the consistency. If a boy grows up in a home where the father is aggressive, where the father does not have that team-centered mindset of carrying the wife along, of seeing the wife as a co-equal partner, he may naturally encode that in his brain as how husbands behave. And let me tell you this, even the child saying, I don't want to be like daddy, doesn't necessarily erase that our pattern-loving brain, remember, has encoded that as an association of husband and how they show up. That is why sometimes, if the child does not do a reframing, that child who observed aggression in a father may also begin to do aggressive tendencies in a relationships. And then maybe the woman he's meeting will not be a woman like his mother who would take it, and that becomes a problem. That's one. Two, even out of ignorance, if as a parent, you do not understand how to regulate your emotions, your children see you maybe when you are overwhelmed, you're screaming, you're cranky, you're whatever, and they learn how to do emotions by learning how you do it. So they could feel that that's how it's done. What if in your home you deal with unresolved conflicts? Your child grows up in a home where there's emotional distance, where there's constant criticism, where there is silent treatment, or even emotional absence, or communication is unhealthy. If any of this is part of your family history, your child, like a sponge, absorbs them even when they acted unaffected or when you as a parent never talked about it. Have you ever noticed, maybe for example, as a couple, you have a fight, and then your 14-year-old, your 13-year-old comes to you and say, Mommy, what's going on between you and daddy? And you say, don't worry, adults fight, we'll settle it. You think you're trying to shield your child. You think maybe they are too young to understand, but they are seeing. I tell people the energy vibration in your home, it's taken in by your child, even when you pretend that all is well. Such a child could become attracted to people who recreate the same experiences, not because they want unhealthy relationship, but like I told you, familiarity can sometimes feel like safety. Did you hear of the lady who left a loving relationship because she said that the man was the relationship was too calm for her, that the man was too accepting. If you, I think she was married to a footballer or something. If you know the story I'm talking about, please come and give me a thumbs up. And Chris is saying he can no longer hear me. Is that common with everyone, or is just Chris? If you can hear me, I want to see a thumbs up. So I'm sure that it's not a general problem, please. Okay, so Joy can hear me. All right, fantastic. So have you seen people who say that? Somebody said to me, and it's not because these people want this, but that's why we're having this conversation. She said to me, ma'am, I've never, see, now I'm understanding why I never fully commit in a relationship. And I'm like, what do you mean by that? She said, because the two relationships I've had, the guys were really nice. And I'm like, I would say nice to a fault. But you know, somewhere in my head, I know that men in relationship are a certain way. And I'm like, what kind of way? You mean like in this relationship, he's checking on me, he asking what I want to do. When he say, let's go somewhere, I say, I don't want to go. It's like, okay. And I'm like, is this what a man? Because I know that the men will insist on their way. So with the calmness I was seeing, I just like, this thing will not last. This one is just pretending. And so I never fully committed to the relationship. But yet, I am telling you about somebody who is in her 30s, late 30s, now having conversation as a mature single, but had had opportunities in relationships that could have ordinarily been good relationships. But chaos was already imprinted in her head. A little bit of bass was what she understood of how relationship would be. So this relationship that is looking rosy, looking nice, please, let me not fully commit because I know it will crash one day. It's not from a healthy place. It's from somebody who has learned love as toxic, even without consciously knowing it. So it took awareness for her to know that she was associating healthy relationship with unhealthy patterns that was picked somewhere. So what am I saying? If your child, and there's something I usually say to parents, that the scary part, let me talk about it here. The scary part is that sometimes our children absorb messages we never meant to send. Imagine for a moment, if your child witnesses you and your husband fighting, and then when you make up, you don't tell the children how the makeup happened. You just move on and expect them to move on. Whereas, when you know with the ages your children are, you need to be able to carry them along to know, yes, even if couples have misunderstanding, these are healthy ways to resolve it. But in their brain, they just think that you have settled. They just think that you feel you don't have a choice. That's why you're continuing. So even the messages you did not intend to pass, they absorb it. That's why even children raised by loving parents can still struggle with healthy relationships, because what they observed and what you intended are not always the same thing. And if you're here and you're listening to me and your marriage is not, you know in your heart that your marriage is not an example for your children. You know in your heart that there are areas in your marriage that needs to work. Please don't just say, I will focus on parenting. I've heard that a lot. Oh, I'm going to focus on parenting. I'll focus on my children. Whilst you are focusing on them, please ensure that you are preparing them for relationship intentionally. Because with your focus on them, the image, the encodement in their unconscious brain about relationship and marriage is that your marriage. So if you need to sit your 18-year-old and talk to that 18-year-old about maybe blah, 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 and how you're navigating it and what you wish you did differently, you should. Because avoiding that conversation does not exonerate your child from falling into similar mistakes like you, because relationship lessons are first caught at home unconsciously, and the first models of relationship are the parents. So my questions for you are, what relationship patterns did your child repeatedly observe growing up that you think has shaped their view of love? And I'm not so much interested as to what you taught them, but more interested as to what they saw between you and daddy, between mommy and daddy, between how they modeled relationship. Beyond your relationship with your spouse, do you think that your child feels, how does your child feel being your child? Oh my goodness. Are you aware that even the way you handle your child because of their position in the family could actually affect their relationship choices? I'm not necessarily affecting it in a bad place, like them choosing the wrong person. It could even sabotage when they choose the right person. Imagine a firstborn girl who, because she's the firstborn, has already been raised with that like leadership and giving orders to her siblings and expecting everybody to rise when she calls. And then she gets married, and because she was not intentionally taught relationship wisdom, she goes into that marriage and is still carrying her first daughter energy and is talking to the man anyhow. She's commanding him. She's giving orders. It could sabotage even a potentially good relationship just because her birth order status was not educated on how to be a partner outside of the birth order. We have seen middle child children who get into relationship and they are clinging to love. They literally abandon their needs and themselves and become people pleasers, because even from home, a middle child raised by parents who do not understand birth order dynamics is that child who is looking for where I belong, not treated as one of the senior ones and not pampered like the junior ones. So they are floating in the middle, seeking for a sense of belonging, because where they belong is not really clear. There are blurry lines. That child could get into the dating world and is now trying to find significance, now trying to find belonging and become a people pleaser. But imagine if the parent understood the characteristics of this order and is able to do differently. My last question to you is, if your child's future marriage looked exactly like yours, would you be happy for them? Think about that. Your precious child gets married and your child's marriage is exactly like yours. Would that give you optimal joy? Like you'll be so happy, feel so fulfilled? If your answer is a no or a shaky yes, please stay till the end of this webinar. Because if your answer is a no, if your answer is a shaky yes, if you don't do anything intentional to change the representation of marriage in your child's brain, they may most likely replicate your kind of marriage, because that is what they understand love to be, even when that is not what they want. Let's move on to red flag 4. If the room is getting hotter, let me know. And if you are ready for us to talk about red flag 4, I need some ginger in the chat room, because for some moments I thought I was just talking to myself. I need to be seeing reactions in the chat room. That chat room is too cool for me. Nobody is saying, no, I don't believe. Yes, so I agree. I need to know that we are together. Is it making sense? Is there something I've said that you absolutely do not agree with, or you absolutely agree with? I need to know that I'm with people. We are a full house here, but for some reason, I feel so alone. So let me know that we are together. Thank you, Joy. Thank you. Okay, so let's move on. Thank you for the encouraging words. Red flag 4. They lack emotional regulation skills and can't handle their feelings. You see this red flag? Let's talk about it. How does a young adult who lacks emotions regulation skills and struggles with regulating their feelings, how could that potentially lead the person to a heartbreak? How could that potentially lead the person to a wrong relationship? Let's look at it. When a young adult doesn't know how to regulate their emotions, they may go looking for, they may go looking into a relationship not to find a partner, but as a relief. And I will explain that. And when we talk about regulating emotions, there are a wide variety of emotions. There are a wide variety of emotions. And it begins from home and then to further education. So imagine if a child is constantly feeling anxious, and this anxiety may not be relationship induced. It could be workload induced. It could be whatever induced, but they don't know how to navigate the anxiety. They could be looking towards relationships as a relief. Imagine if a young child does not even know how to handle fear. They go looking for somebody who could rescue them. And once they find that one person that feels like is confident, even if the confidence is something that is negatively inclined, why do you think that some children who are fearful or who are anxious end up with maybe the bad boys in school? Because there's this false confidence around those boys, and they feel, oh, if I'm covered by this person, if I'm under this person's protection, or if somebody knows I'm associated with this person, then that can be like a relief for me. But instead of looking for that, is it not best the child learns and understands how to deal with those big, difficult emotions? Because people who need rescuing, who think that they are going gaga, who think that their head wants to explode, who thinks that, oh, their mind chatter is driving them crazy, whether it be the emotion of shame, the emotion of guilt, the emotion of anxiety, the emotion of fear, the emotion of whatever it is, may find themselves attaching to anybody who makes them feel better in the moment, and not necessarily somebody that is good for them. And that's one angle of it. Another angle of it is that poor emotions regulation can actually also destroy a good emotion, a good relationship, sorry. And how is that possible? Take, for example, somebody doesn't know how to deal with anger. And so when they just have a fight or one small issue happens, they blow it up, they do anger tantrums, and for some reason, the other person who is maybe secure in themselves and confident will be like, no, I love you, but I'm not going to stay here receiving this side of you. In fact, I once worked with people dating, and this issue of not being assertive, not even being able to control emotions, and one of them said, I love you, and that hit right home, but I love myself more because I have complained of this over and over and over again, and I'm not seeing any intentional action you're taking to work on it. And I had to say to the parties, I understand, I get you, but can I say something here? Can we take the willingness and the starting of this coaching process as that step that the person is taking? I'm not saying you should throw away your decision to move away to end the relationship, but I'm asking you to give time for this process. Maybe the person didn't have the skills, but I'm here. We're going to go through therapy to find out what went wrong, and then I will coach them to grow their emotional regulation skills. So could you just like be part of this? If you still have any little hope in this relationship, let's run the course of this. And if you are still in that same position that the person is not making any effort and you cannot stay any longer, then you are free to take on your decision. And the person agreed, and we started the work. So imagine a 32-year-old individual who does not even understand the basics of emotions. He doesn't even know, she doesn't even know that it is okay to feel an emotion, but there is a message that every emotion is trying to pass to you. It's the skill of being able to pause and take the message. If they did not get to me at the point they did, that good relationship would have ended. But they are married today with 2 children. Why? Because somebody had to learn the skills they should have learned as adolescents at 32. So even sometimes, poor emotions regulations can even destroy a good relationship. Talk about people who make decisions in an emotional storm. Something happens and they just walk away without even wanting to work on it or even trying to find if there's something. And then they later regret it. Or even that child that will be saying, oh, daddy, he makes me feel good. She does this to me, because they are swept off by chemistry. But a person with strong emotional intelligence understands that chemistry is not enough. We're vibing together today is not enough. There are more things I should verify for alignment before I make a commitment, because marriage cannot work on chemistry alone. A greater part of it deals with compatibility. But if that young person does not know how to regulate emotions, they can easily be swept off by infatuation and think that is what means that the relationship has a good place. Sometimes the problem is not that your child chose the wrong person. Sometimes it could be that the problem is that even the right person got tired and left. The right person who cannot stay with a person who does not know how to regulate emotions. The right person who cannot stay with somebody who cannot handle feelings. Have you seen people that walk away from a good job, a job that is good in the moment and has future prospects, because their superior said something and I can't stand that? And they walk away from something that could have transformed the rest of their life because they couldn't handle a moment. Have you also seen people sabotage good stuff just because of a moment of emotional intensity that wasn't well handled? Think about Will Smith. I can give you lots of examples that if they understood that the distance between the secretion of an emotion to when it lands into your body where you feel it is just 6 seconds. If they had knowledgeable parents who taught them or who exposed them to where they can be taught, and they recognize that if I just take a deep breath in and out, I am likely to give a response that I will be happier with, than when I just make the decision in the heat of the emotion, because I did not give room for the emotion to diffuse and my rational brain to be activated so that I can think, problem solve, and choose a better option. Let's move on. So for you as a parent, my question is, how does your child typically respond when they don't get what they want? Do they throw tantrums? Do they keep malice? Do they walk away? Do they sit back to talk about it? Can your child express difficult emotions in healthy ways? Our son used to be, once you're having a heated conversation, he will keep quiet, and next thing, tears are streaming down his eyes. And I said to him, sit down, let's talk. We started an intentional process of emotions regulation. So you don't start weeping because you're not having your way. You have a conversation after you've allowed yourself to get back into yourself. But if you're noticing that it's your own, just come on, be a man. What's wrong with you? And so somebody did something to you and you're crying. No, emotions regulations do not grow by aggression. It starts by validating the emotions and then teaching. Can your child tolerate emotional discomfort? If that child of yours, for example, experienced a relationship breakup, would they have the emotional skills to recover in a healthy way? Because even whilst you're preparing your child, they could get into a relationship and then realize that, no, the signs I'm seeing here is not healthy. And they would walk away because they are now confident. But then even the walking away, there could be some momentary grief because they wished or hoped that the relationship was going to be something else. How will they handle the breakup? Can they reflect? Can they self-soothe themselves? Or if need be, seek healthy support? Now, the question for you amongst these three questions that you really need to sit with is, if your child found the right partner today, with who your child is, with where your child is on the emotional intelligence ladder now, right now, we're evaluating current reality. Do you think that your child has the emotional skills to keep that healthy relationship? Or do you think by their emotions dysregulation, they may sabotage even a potentially good relationship? Think about that as we move on to red flag 5. And like I did say, we are going to be looking at 5 red flags, and this is the 5th, and this is the last red flag, and then we'll move on to other parts of the conversation. Another red flag that could make a young adult fall into the wrong relationship is that they may be looking for love to feel a life they aren't enjoying. You see this red flag 5? I can teach on it for the next 3 hours with as many examples as possible, because my case notes are filled with lots of young people who are merely just performing for their parents. Young people who are disconnected from work. Young people who are disconnected from their educational paths that they are pursuing. Young people who are, the research shows us that the Gen Zs, although they are the most technologically savvy generation, people born into the internet, but they remain the loneliest generation. And I have a lot of young people who are lonely because they lack genuine connections. It's either they are connecting with friends because of something that is peripheral, but not really deep. I asked some young people, can you name 5 friends that you can vouch for, that if you call them now, you can say, okay, let's narrow it down to 3. That sometimes when there is a void in a young person's life, whether be it in the work domain, For those of them, those young people that maybe are done with school and are working, and there's that emptiness because probably they're not enjoying their job, the job is toxic or is not empowering, or they don't feel that they are progressing, or it comes to school feeling frustrating. In as much as I agree that sometimes these young people don't have that staying power, but again, it is also about how resilience has been taught them. School feeling frustrating, work feeling meaningless, friendships feeling disappointing, romance can start to look like an escape route. Like if all these things are not working, if this life is not, I might as well know whether if I take a boyfriend, that could even fill the void. Or if I take a girlfriend, that could even fill the void. Even life dissatisfaction is also part of why young people take to unhealthy coping mechanism. That's why we're seeing drug use amongst them increasing. If a child feels stuck in life, are you aware that at adolescent, as young as from early adolescent, 13, 14, even neuroscience tells us that from when the brain architecture starts changing from 10 years, a young child is already asking, what am I here for? They are talking about purpose conversations, even if they don't call it that word purpose. But sometimes as parents, we see it as rebellion. If that young child is lacking an internal drive or doesn't feel confidence, they may become vulnerable to the wrong person because desperation lowers standards. Take this home. When a child is desperate, a young person is desperate to feel loved. A young person is desperate to feel a void in a life that is not looking progressive, in a life that is not feeling like it's giving them joy. They can lower their standards. They can settle for even what they know is below standards for them. But if every other thing is not working, at least let me just hold this small one. That's why even sometimes people see the red flags in a relationship but are still there because desperation lowers standards. Healthy relationships are built by people who already have a life worth sharing. Like, I know who I am. I said to people, even when I was single, and then maybe they're having conversations and saying stuff like maybe fighting over a boyfriend or whatever. I'm like, I'm not the prettiest woman on earth, but I cannot fight for a man. Like, literally, I cannot. And it's not because, how do I put this? It's not because I didn't want to be in a relationship, but I knew I was worth so much more. Why should I be fighting for a man? That's why when I see people tearing themselves, fighting, first of all, the man does not even deserve either of you. Because if he can be playing both of you, then he doesn't feel any of you is even worthy of he doesn't respect any of you well enough. And I'm saying that healthy relationships are built by people who feel that their life is worth sharing. So they're looking out for somebody who they can share this life with, somebody that is deserving of this, their life. Somebody that is also on a pathway of a life that is worth sharing, and not looking for somebody to rescue them from their own dissatisfaction. Because relationship built from desperation, built from wanting to be rescued, may likely not make the person be objective enough to look at the stuff they need to look at and know if this person is a person that is worth them sharing their life with. So let's move on. What does your child feel about their life right now? If you ask your child that is 18 years, 19 years, 20 to 25, on a scale of 0 to 5, how would you rate how you're enjoying your life? Or where would you say you are on the scale of your life satisfaction? If you look at your life right now, where will you say it is? And 0 to 5, and you tell them 0 is totally not satisfied with how it's going, and 5 is absolutely completely satisfied with how it's going. If that child says a 0, a 1, or a 2, that is a alarm clock ticking. And what you need is may not just be parental love and support. It may actually need digging deep with a professional to really push up that life satisfaction, because it's not only going to affect the person in relationship, it will even affect the ongoing life satisfaction, because when you feel so down, you don't have that momentum and zest to even move on to achieve many more things. So does your child have sources of joy, belonging, fulfillment in their life, even if they are not in a romantic relationship right now? Do you know the things that give your child joy and they are actively engaging in it? Do they feel a sense of belonging? Are they advancing, whether in education, in work, whatever that they are doing, and it's giving them like, oh, my life is making progress. I may not be where I want to be, but I don't feel stuck. I feel some sense of pride that I am moving forward. If your child is looking for someone to date, will they be looking for someone to share a life with, or someone to give them a life? And I see that Joy has helped me recap it. So these are the 5 red flags that could make even smart young adults end up with the wrong relationship, expose themselves to heartbreaks, or even go on to marry such people and end up in a miserable marriage. And our conversation today is, how do we save our children from heartbreaks? And we have looked at the red flags. So they don't know themselves yet. They are looking for love to heal what hurt them. They are carrying unhealthy relationship lessons you never intended to teach them. They lack emotions regulation skills and can't handle their feelings. And they are looking for love to feel a life they aren't enjoying. And I'm seeing somebody say, oh, thank you, Tina, for that recommendation. So thankful for the person who recommended me, and on and on and on and on. Okay, so let's move on. Thank you so much, everyone who is here. Let's continue the conversation. So I'm sure that now, as parents, what's going on in your mind? Because I can almost say that there is one question on every parent's mind right now. And that question would be, how can I save my child from these red flags, so that they don't make that costly mistake of falling into the wrong relationship? I may not even know where my child is on any of these red flags, but I have been reflecting on the reflections you gave us, and I'm like, what do I need to do? What am I going to do differently? How do I help this child of mine? Let's look at how we will do that. Godwin says, thanks so much. A step to deliverance it is. Oh, great. Let's see what we need to do. Because let me tell you another hard truth. If you want peace of mind as a parent, with regards to your child's relationships, with regards to who your child will marry, honestly, from what you are seeing in the 5 red flags, you should actually be focusing on who your child is becoming, and not so much on who they will marry. Because you can say, oh, let me expose them to family friends or families where I know that they have good children. You don't even know what is the skeleton in the cupboards of those children. But you can beat your chest that if your child becomes somebody that those 5 red flags are not in their lives, then they are empowered to make choices that will be for their good. So the goal actually is, who is your child becoming, and not necessarily who they will marry. So what every parent must do is to help their children to become the kind of person who can recognize healthy love when they see it. That's your role. In preparing your children for relationships, your role is to help them become the person who can recognize healthy love when they see it. Your role is to help them choose healthy love, become the person who can choose healthy love when it appears, and become a person who can sustain it. Because we've already seen, even if they choose the healthy love, if they are emotionally dysregulated, they may even not sustain that love. If they are the people who are chasing love so that they can know themselves, who are chasing love so that they can heal a wound, they are likely going to be drawn to unhealthy love. It means that we as parents, just like I, as a mother of 4 adolescents aged between 22 and 15, that's why I told you I'm not teaching this course just because I am the lead coach at Start Your Marriage Right Academy. Teaching relationship preparation to children within these ages is something that is dear to me, because I have children in this age bracket, and I will not sit and do nothing, and my children will make a mistake in marriage. God forbid. I cannot, even as the role that I play in my work, understand how children who are not well prepared could innocently walk into a death trap in the name of relationship. And if you have children within this age bracket like I do, then you would also be serious about this. That based on the red flags, what can we do? That is why at the Start Your Marriage Right Academy, we collaborate with parents. We call out these parents to say, you may not be equipped to do this work, but you have an academy that is devoted to doing this, and we can do it together. And I'm going to show you how we can do it together to save our children from making wrong choices. To save our children from making wrong choices. Joy is saying, for this work that I'm going to share with you, the things I've shared, you could be doing it on family-based level. But when it comes to this structured learning, it is not designed for 13-year-olds. It is for 18 and above. Now, if you have a 17-year-old child that is already in university, or is about to enter university come the next university season of August, September, then they are ripe for this course. It is best taken as the child is entering university, because again, that is where the larger dating world starts. But for a 13-year-old, I will not recommend it. But that does not mean that the teaching at home cannot continue. So we collaborate with parents to save their children from making wrong marriage choices, so that they don't spend their old age in misery, running from one prayer house or the other, biting their nails out of regret, wishing they did better. Now is the time. Any parent that has an 18 to 25-year-old child, and you have listened to what I said, this is the time to collaborate with the Start Your Marriage Right Academy so that we can help our children. And that's why the way that we have designed as an academy, you can take what I have taught you so far and go find ways to implement it. That's beautiful. But if you know that you are not equipped, especially if your child is already 18, this is a collaborative approach that you can take. And it is a life-changing 8 weeks program that helps young adults become more self-aware, more self-confident, and more self-expressive, so that they prepare to find love. Let me tell you how this will address those red flags. What we do with the parents, and I'm yet to tell you how we are collaborating with the parents, so stay with me. We have a robust collaborative process with parents, so that whilst we're teaching the children in the academy, we also have a way where the parents are reinforcing what we're teaching at home by also checking in. I will come to that in a moment. Within this 8 weeks, we're going to help your child discover who they are and help them build a strong sense of identity. Strong sense of identity that dates back to their heritage, picking the healthy patterns from as much as 3 generations from now. Their great-grandparents, their grandparents, their parents, and then them. There are some healthy patterns that they may have lost sight of, or they didn't even know. We're going to help them discover their values, because as 18-year-olds going on, they have their own personal values. Even if you have your family values, they will understand their strengths and what makes them stand unique in a crowd. So they don't go into a crowd, they don't go into the university, they don't go into the workplace looking for somebody to define them. No, they already know who they are. The second thing we will do is to help them understand if there are any unhealthy family patterns that they might have inherited. So we're going to help them go through birth order to see the characteristics of different birth orders: firstborn, middleborn, secondborn, lastborn, only boy, only girl, only child, and see if they already are seeing any of those negatively inclined patterns in themselves. They will also understand how the home front introduce relationships with them, to them. And so in a very basic way that is going to be, they can understand, we'll go into attachment style so that they know if they are securely or insecurely attached. And they can even test it out with their normal friendships that is not romantic to see if they are seeing those characteristics and what to do to heal it even before a romantic relationship comes. Then we will help them. There are assessments that they will take that would help them know if they have any emotional wounds. Like I said, some of these wounds are unconscious, but through the process, they will identify if there are any, and then we'll take them through psychotherapy interventions to heal. Even if the emotional wound happened in childhood, there are simple exercises we'll take them through to heal it so that they can reframe it. Or even if it happened in adolescence. So we're going to help them identify and heal emotional pain from childhood to early adolescence. That's not all. Then we will help them develop emotions regulation skills so that their feelings don't control their decisions. We are going to teach them the neurobiology of anxiety and depression so that when they understand, these are two major emotional stuff that young people deal with. But if they first of all understand the science of emotions, understand how to navigate anxiety and depression, then no matter what happens, they have a toolkit. That was why I was asking you, if something happens to your child emotionally, do they know what to do? Can they self-soothe? Do they know the things to bring out of themselves that can help them navigate that situation? If they don't, this is an opportunity for your child to learn emotional intelligence and how to stand above anxiety and navigate different levels of depression. Of course, we're going to help them build purpose, confidence, boundaries, and relationship wisdom. How do we do that? They will get to understand and craft their own purpose statement. As this 20-year-old child, what makes life meaningful for me? In as much as it may not be fully formed, but they're already in that pathway, so that they are not showing up in life like wanderers. They are not showing up in life and they jump on any new trend, but they will be authentic to be going towards relationships and opportunities that align first with who they are, and then with their purpose, and with the relationship wisdom they will learn. They know how to be whole in themselves even before they start looking for partners. When I teach and I coach premarital clients, and some of the things I'm going to be teaching your children are some of the things we teach in premarital. But then those people are like, oh, I wish I knew this even before I got into this relationship. Are you aware that some people have come to premarital and canceled their engagement after they got to heal their emotional wounds because they realized that it was not their true self that accepted that engagement? Now imagine if your child already was authentic. There will be no need for them to start up a relationship and take it to engagement when already it's not serving them. Think about it that way. And then, even if they are not ready to get into a relationship now, we're going to help them design their future relationship manifestation strategies. And that is as serious as visualizing the kind of person, the kind of husband they want to be, the kind of wife they want to be, the kind of partner they want to have, the kind of home they want to have, and then reverse engineer it to now. Who must they become? How will they, what are the kind of questions that can help them know if the person they want to date is moving in this alignment? Certain things like that is what it takes to map out their attraction blueprints and create their relationship manifestation strategies. That is what we'll be doing with them within the 8 weeks. Now, this was one father who signed up the daughter on this course. And then he sent me this message, and the young girl was saying, "Good morning, Daddy. I want to personally thank you for signing me on the Go Ruship program," which used to be the name. But then from feed forward from our young audience, they didn't seem to understand what we were trying to portray there. The goal there was to say, like, when you are your authentic self and you know who you are and your life is worth sharing, relationships will be rushing to want to be in your life. But it didn't sit well with them in terms of because they're like, "I don't want anybody to rush me. Why should anybody be rushing me?" So we understood that for our audience, we needed to tweak something. And so we had to rename the course, okay? But she was saying to her father, "It's been really insightful and helpful. I've been learning a lot. And I know at the end of this journey, there is a positive result. I really appreciate you and all you do for our family, blah, blah, blah." And then the father sent it to me and said, "This was sent to me by my 25-year-old daughter living in Ibadan. Thanks for what you do." And we have several testimonies like that. Talk about this young girl who had to stand up for herself and left a situationship that wasn't good for him. This young man came into the course and realized that, because he was a firstborn, the firstborn syndrome was actually messing up with his relationship desires. And he sent in this message in the course. I don't want to read this all long. So as a firstborn, I used to feel like I always have to give so much. Anytime I think about marriage, I think of what I can give to my wife and my family. I never thought of what I can receive or what I actually want from marriage. So Nadem Go Dey Rush Me has helped me do that. He's helped me to look at myself, blah, 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 recognize. This course exercise helped me to understand myself better and to help me create a picture of what I want in marriage, what I want to give, and what I want to receive. Now, I was referring to an exercise they did when they were creating their future relationship manifestation strategies. So I told you it's a collaborative effort. So here is how we want to collaborate with you. If as a parent, you sign up your child for Self-Ready, Love-Ready, we would have 2 WhatsApp groups. The first WhatsApp group will be the children in the WhatsApp group. And we will have a WhatsApp group for all the parents. A parent that signed up their children will be in the parent WhatsApp group. Then we will enroll the children into this course, and the parents will get a parent's guide. We have designed a guidebook for the 8 weeks curriculum that we're doing with the children. Whilst we're teaching the children, the guide is telling you, the parent, what we're teaching the children, what they are learning, how you can follow up at home, some questions you should ask them to drive home the learning, some reflection questions, some questions you should ask them to know how they want you to support them on the learning. So you see, it's collaborative. We are not pushing you aside. You are part of it. But we are the experts with the curriculum, but we want to be able to carry you along even as your child is also learning. So the children will going to have their weekly sessions every Saturday, 7 p.m. And the sessions are recorded. And even after we have the session on Saturdays, by Monday, the recording is available. So in case they want to play the recording and watch it before they do their exercises, because we'll be giving them exercises to do. After the course, they still have the recording for another 1 year access, because it's costing a lot to keep all of those recordings on the cloud. So we'll have to take them off as time goes on, but then we will give them access to it for 1 full year. Then you, the parents, when we finish the Saturday class with them, we're going to come to you on Sunday, following your guide, to now remind you that this is this week, we have taught so, and so. This is what you are supposed to do with your child, the reflection with them, the questions with them, blah, blah, blah. And then, of course, every parent will decide for themselves which day to engage their children. I can tell you that this has become an opportunity for parents who have not even been talking with their children about relationship. A father said to me, "Thank you for this guide. Like, I didn't even know where to start from. I didn't even know what to do. But with this, I could see how my son and I were now having conversations. In past, he was telling me things, and he made me, I even remembered, I told him things that happened when I was in the university, blah, 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 blah." And so it's not only that you're helping them prepare for relationship, it also giving you an opportunity to bond. Guess what? It's also ensuring that at least you speak with your child once a week. And some people have continued to keep that time with their children as their regular talking time. Because sometimes with the children out of home and whatever, they don't even have that regular intentional time. But some families have told me, you know what, we decided to maintain that time. I didn't want it to just end after the 8 weeks. So this might be your opportunity. When you're doing the course, your children will create their intimacy playbook. That is their attraction blueprint. That is like a playbook that talks about their authentic self, what they are about, what they like, what they dislike, what they want out of life, how they like to communicate, how they like to be loved, and all of that, so that it not only increases their self-awareness. When they even start dating, they have something that is like a conversation starter that they can use in their relationships to have conversations and not just be looking of, oh, where's the next restaurant? Well, but no, dating becomes an intentional getting to know, because the intimacy playbook is also called the Know Me Better, Love Me Better playbook. And if your child is willing to also share their intimacy playbook with you, which they should, because there's nothing really secretive there, it also gives you an opportunity to know your child deeper. Then they design their future relationship manifestation strategies. You can become part of it collaboratively. And at the end of it, we give them a digital handbook. Just some of the things we don't want them to forget, some habits we want them to still keep doing even after the course, some things that will guide them even when they get into a dating situation to remember who they have become in the course. And you will have a lifetime access to your parents' guide, because it's a digital form as well. So you get it, you download it, you have it forever. And so that becomes something you can do. I'll talk today. I'll answer you, David, after a while. So if you feel that, thank God, when we're talking about all of these red flags, I was wondering, where do I start from? Like, I think you are making sense, madam, but I don't even know. How do I begin? But now with this collaborative effort with the parent, you think that it can be something that will give you that sense of action. It can be something that will even prompt you to start what you need to start doing fast with these children. Come and give me a thumbs up. Let me know whether, as a parent like me, because our children have had to take relationship preparation courses, because I know the importance of it. All right. So which of your child do you think needs self-ready, love-ready? I particularly would say your child that is from 18 years and above. 18 years and above. 18 to 25. We have another program entirely for mature singles that we do for people, young adults, 30 years and above. So if you have a 30-year-old child, that might be what will be applicable to them. But this is for younger adults, because the dynamics of the relationship for this age bracket is a bit different, and the languaging a bit different for those 30 years and above. So if you have a child between 18 to 25 years, I'm telling you, this is one collaborative effort you don't want to miss. And it's not like we're teaching your child in the dark. You are carried along. You are seeing what they are learning, and you are able to be part of it. So the big question is, how much will registering your child for this collaborative academy parents relationship preparation cost? And I'm telling you that you will not get the value of this program, the collaborative effort, at this price. And right now, what the academy is selling this course for is at 80,000 naira only. 80,000 naira only to register a child. But then I see that a good number of us have left the work we're doing. We came to learn this because we actually want our children to do relationship well. So we have just this special offer for the people that are here. And this is it. Within the next 72 hours, if you are at this webinar and you feel that this is what you need that can give you a sense of parent guidance, that you actually are exposing your children to what they need to be exposed to, you can get this amazing discount if you register your child within 72 hours. Instead of paying 80,000, if you are registering them now, you get to pay only 64,000 one time. But you're like, oh, I want to pay a flexible plan. You still get a deal. 70,000 in the flexible plan, and that is you paying in 2 installments of 35,000. So I don't know what you're waiting for, but I think this is a good deal. And once this deal expires on Wednesday by 11:59, the price will revert back to 80,000. And they will not be, pleased, ma, can I? No, 72 hours is the window you have to do this special deal. Afterwards, we are taking it back to 80,000. And if you have family, friends, people you think that their children should be part of this, please also let them know. So I just dropped the link there. If you want to scan the QR code, you can scan the QR code. If you still have some questions, you can call on Ifunanya. But I'm going to tell you one thing. We will not extend the 72 hours. So it's either you're jumping in now and save some money and still get the collaborative work, or you are going to just be gracious and say, you know what, Start Your Marriage Right Academy, you've done excellent work. I want to pay full price, and we will just get you to pay the 80,000 naira. But whilst we are doing that, let's conclude this. Let me tell you something. You see that marriage that you pray for your child to have, it is tomorrow, it is being shaped by who your child is becoming today. And we've found out that, we've looked at it, we've seen what can expose them to the kind of relationships that can break them. And that's where self-ready, love-ready matters. Because before a child must be relationship ready, they must first be self-ready. They must be self-aware. They must be self-accepting. They must be self-authentic, so that they can be confident and self-expressive. When a child becomes a young adult who is self-ready, they can choose love from abundance, not from desperation. We've already established that desperation can lower standards. When a child is self-aware, self-accepting, self-authentic, they will choose relationships from wisdom, not loneliness. So it's better now to prepare your child to enter the dating world as a self-aware person, as a healed person, as an authentic person than it is for you when they have made mistakes, when their hearts have been broken. In fact, the video I did about Ifeoma getting into university and the father being scared that boys are going to deceive her, boys are going to break her heart. This is where you ensure that your own Ifeoma does not get heartbroken. Because if you teach her what she needs to, if you help her become self-aware, if you help her build emotional health and learn relationship wisdom that she will learn from self-ready, love-ready, she will be able to choose from wholeness and not emptiness. That is why I say, before we go, let me remind you that you cannot advise a child already in love. Please do not wait for your child to fall in love before you start advising them. Help your child to become self-aware now. Help that child to become self-confident now. Help that child to become self-expressive now, so that they can choose a life partner from a place of secured identity. And when you even look at it, imagine 34,000 naira for an 8-week course. That is about 8,000 a week. And if you break it down, that is about 1,142 naira per day that you will spend to save your child from making the worst mistake of their life. I'm a mother of 4 children, and I can tell you that amount is well worth it. And the good part of it is that you are not kept in the dark. You will get to be a part of the process. So I think that is what I can say to you. That self-ready, love-ready is the best gift you can give your child to prepare them for a safe, healthy relationship and eventually a marriage that will give you, the parent, peace of mind in your old age, knowing that your precious child is happily married. Because when they understand themselves, they understand love, then they can choose aligned relationships. So I'm going to just leave this on the screen while I attempt to answer the questions before our time is up, because I see there are some questions in the chat room. Can I register a child who is 27 and 28 years old? Yes, you can, but if the child is 30 and above, I would say you should register for the singles course. But if it's 27, they can be registered in this course. Somebody is asking, there is a session for mature singles that will come up later. Okay, somebody, no, if the child is 30 years and above, I would rather they join the mature singles class. Yemi is asking, how long is each class weekly? Usually, we don't extend it beyond 2 hours. It's 7 to 9 p.m. West African time. If Unaya, do you want to share the account details? Oluchi, please help me share the account details here so that people who want to pay directly via account details can do that. Let me see. I will take the questions that I see in the chat room so that we are sure that everybody is feeling heard and understood. So that's the direct accounts. Please, we would answer that if you click on that link, it will convert it to your currency. So I can't say how much it is in all the different currencies, but if you are using that link, once you click whether you want to make one-time payment or you want to make flexible payment, immediately you select what you want and you want to put your card details, it will convert in your own currency. Okay, so which other question have I not answered? Is it all right for 13 years? No, it is not all right for 13 years. When is the 8 weeks class commencing? The class is starting on the 13th of July. Thank you for that. Start date for the next batch is July 13th. July 13th is the start date for the next batch. Which other question do I have that I haven't answered? Okay, I've answered that. Which other question? No, please, I would not. If is the 16-year-old in university, remember, I keep saying this, 18 years is the time for this course because ordinarily that's about the age the children should be in university. But if exceptions, if you have a 16-year-old, a 17-year-old who is already in university or will be joining university, college in the next session, starting August or September, then you can register them because they need this knowledge before they go into that bigger world. So that is the condition where a 16 or 17-year-old can be registered because they are entering university or they're already in university. If not, if they're still in high school, if they're still in secondary school, please do not register them. They will join when they get of age. But if they are already in university or about to enter, you can register them. David is asking, how did you even start this? You're building a better environment. Oh, David, that's conversation for another day. Are you in the WhatsApp group? If you're in the WhatsApp group, over the weeks, I can talk about that. Okay, what about those who are older, 25 years up? 25 up to 28, 29 can join, but 30 years and above, I will recommend they join the matured singles class. Okay. Fielder says, I pray that I could have received this information long ago. It's okay if your children are still within the age bracket and they are still, you can put them in the course. If they are older, you can talk to us at the academy and we'll let you know when the next mature single class is holding. If they're already married and you are just realizing this, there is still something you can do. So if you want to talk to an expert, you want a coach that could guide you on what to do if you feel like you didn't do things right, you can still contact us on that number and we can schedule a time to talk. Okay, so I guess I've answered all of the questions. Is the class every Monday or is the class every Monday? No, the class for the young adults is on Saturdays. Their classes will hold on Saturdays, 7 p.m. West African time. So I said that the course is starting on Monday 13th because we have to onboard them. There is a process for onboarding and all that, but classes will hold on Saturday. So whilst the course is starting on Monday the 13th, the onboarding process, the class sessions will be on Saturdays. Then the parents catch up, whatever, will be on Sundays. Tina is saying WhatsApp group. Okay, Tina, if you didn't register for the course, okay, if you registered, you should have been in the WhatsApp group, but I will just try to drop the link there right now so that you can join. But then if you have a child who you are registering, there will be no need joining this WhatsApp group. You just want to register that child so that you can join the WhatsApp group where the course is. Okay, if you get what I mean. But I will still drop the webinar WhatsApp group so that if you want to join that, but that's not where we're doing the collaborative work. Parents, webinar, WhatsApp. All right. So somebody is asking, do I have discount for 2 children? Fortunately not, ma'am. Our discount, this is already discounted. If you notice, the class is selling at 80,000. Even if you click on our links, you go to the website, that is what it is. So we've already given a 72-hour discount. I'm afraid we cannot give further discount for 2 children, but we have a further discount for people registering 3 children and above. If you have 3 children and above, there is a discount for that. So if you are registering 3 children, you get something extra aside from this. It's already, if you just click on the link, you will see all of the details. And so thank you, everyone. Let me come back to us. So I just want you to, we're leaving in some few seconds because it's already 9 and we advertised that we'll be ending at 9. But as we're stopping today's engagement, can you just describe this masterclass, this webinar? If you were to describe it with one adjective or a phrase, what would you describe it as? In line with maybe your expectations for being here and what we discussed. If you were to describe it, I want to know if your time was well spent. Samsung says amazing. I need to hear from other people. Do you think that this was worth your time? Did it give you the what made you sign up? Okay, so I'm seeing words like amazing, awesome, mind-blowing. It was educative, a niche in time. Oh my goodness, Chuka, you just nailed it for me. You just nailed it for me. Tina, I wouldn't want your 13-year-old. Yes, I know you will pay the academy, but we are focused on transformation, and the class is designed for age bracket higher than 13. So please, no. You can remain part of the Institute, connect with the Academy on our social media, stay close to us, you'll be learning stuff, and we will be building together. But honestly, I don't want you to just register the child because you're going to pay the Academy. I want the child to be transformed in the program. So 13 years will be too early for the information we are passing. So no, I wouldn't want you to register a 13-year-old. All right. Yemi says highly needed, transformation needed globally. That's why we're opening the doors globally. Thank you, ma'am. And so thank you, everyone. I don't know when you joined. If somebody is saying I didn't join on time, don't worry. The replay is available on our page, our channel on YouTube. So it's available on Start Your Mind Right Academy on YouTube. So you can still go there and watch. I need it, and I'm going to register my child, 16 years in university, who doesn't want to hear anything marriage. Fantastic. Maybe there we could find out. You don't know what it has been imprinted in our mind. Maybe that child has seen some marriages and is like, oh, if this is it, I don't want something out of it. So it's good you're registering that child. So on that note, I'm saying thank you. I look forward to collaborating with you. I look forward to collaborating with you. I said to you, I'm a mother of 4. Our oldest is 22 and our youngest is 15, going to be 16 this year. And I must definitely tell you, I don't want to sit here, fold my arms, and not do what I need to do to ensure that I prepare my child. And I know that is what you want as well. That's why I'm calling you to collaborate with us. Let's help them start now. Become self-ready so that they can be relationship-ready. Let's help them build the self-awareness, the self-acceptance, the self-authenticity they need to choosing the suitable partners for them. On that note, I say enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I can't wait to see you in the course. Thank you to every of my team members who made this possible, to my lovely husband, Nedum, to Oluchi in the part of the academy for being here and for supporting, to Rayo, thank you so much, to Daniel, thank you so much, to our host of volunteers and our alumni. We invited their family, friends, and everyone who is a part of Start Your Marriage Right Academy. Thank you for your faith in us, and thank you for always being here. So let's meet in the WhatsApp group and start preparing our children come July 13th. Enjoy the rest of your evening.